Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Really appreciate you being here. We are actually really excited to have everyone join us today and have this discussion. Obviously, today we're going to be speaking about the International Student Experience for the Brown University Online MPH webinar. Like I mentioned, a lot to kind of jump in and talk about, a lot of people to meet and hear about their experiences. Before we dive in, though, I want you to kind of look at the bottom of your screen here, some important deadlines. One that's coming up very soon, the early admissions decision deadline, December 15th. This is just important for the fall 2023 cohort. If you get your application in by December 15th, then you have that early admissions decision handed to you, which is actually really great. It helps you kind of plan for your future, lets you know where you stand in the program, gets you excited for what's to come in the fall much earlier, as opposed to if you waited till after December 15th. So mark your calendars, get everything ready that you need to get ready for that. And the folks who actually help you get ready for that deadline are on the webinar today. So if you do have any last minute questions about that deadline or about admissions, this is a great time to ask. So that will be happening towards the end, but let's go ahead and jump in. So I wanted to just, before we kind of go ahead with everything, let's talk about the agenda. What are we gonna talk about today? First and foremost, we've got the brief panel interview with the international students and faculty. Can't wait to introduce all of them. And then we'll talk a little bit about what makes Brown's online MPH unique, the application checklist, everything that's involved, specifically for international students. If you have any questions at all regarding that, please submit your questions. And then speaking of questions, we're going to answer them live at the end of this webinar. Some housekeeping: if you look at the bottom of your screen on Zoom, you'll see a bunch of different little widgets there. One of them is the Q&A section. Feel free to go ahead and answer your questions or ask your questions throughout the webinar. You don't need to wait till the very end. You can go ahead and enter them now. Some folks the presenters on the webinar will go ahead and answer those questions now. Otherwise, we'll answer them at the end together. So just feel free to listen and ask questions and just really enjoy yourself, and hopefully you have a lot of information that's helpful for you today. Now let's get into the presenters. So we have two international students who are joining us. They're currently students with the Online Masters of Public Health program. First is Siam Adusimili. Like I mentioned, he's a current student living in India, and he's also the Chief Product Officer at Ground Game Health. Next, we have Keisha Digave. She also is currently an Online Master of Public Health student, and she is living in South Africa, as she's a research medical officer at the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation. Really appreciative to both of these students for taking the time out. I'm not sure what your time zone is everywhere for everyone on this call, but it varies, and some people it's really early, some people it's late in the afternoon. So it's really great that these students took the time and made the effort to be on the call. One mention, Siam will be joining us a little later in the presentation. He should be on by the time we get to the Q&A, so we can ask him a bunch of questions. But we do have Keisha. So Keisha, get ready to field all of the questions. Just kidding. We'll go kind of easier. We'll go easy on you. But we are super glad, super happy that you're here, and you're willing to answer the questions. So welcome. And along with these two students, we have a bunch of Brown faculty. I think it's really important to note here before I go through the international students, and you'll kind of learn this as we go through the webinar here. There's a ton of support at Brown, specifically for international students. You know, the experience we want them to have, the challenges or any kind of questions they have. There's literally a whole team of people that will help you overcome and help you be successful. So let's jump into that team. First and foremost, we have Dr. Jen Nazarino. She's the inaugural Associate Director of the online MPH program. And in addition to her work as Brown faculty member, she is also the co-director of the Philippine Health Initiative for Research, Service, and Training. So really, really glad to have Dr. Nazarino on the call. We also have Andrew Held. Andrew Heald joined us as the new program director for the Global Brown Center for International Students in January of 2020. Before Brown, Andrew has held several roles at other institutions, working with international students and which gives him a wide breadth of experience to draw from. So really glad that he's on the call. June Drinkwater. She's been at Brown for 11 years, and some of those years has been as the Global Brown Manager. And what she does there, a few of the things is she guides you through the passport registration process. She directs you to the correct offices at Brown, connects you with peers, or provides you with support materials. So we can dive in a little bit later as to all the great things that the Global Brown Center does and how June and Andrew assist with that. But really glad that the two of them are here to share their experiences. Next, we have Ma Irene Quilatang. Here I go. I apologize, Irene. I knew this would happen, but she'll have the opportunity to kind of introduce herself and pronounce her name correctly a little later in the webinar. We're really excited to have Irene. She attended Brown's Master in Global Public Health and is now in her PhD candidacy for the Behavioral and Social Health Sciences, which she hopes to complete in 2025. And she's an advocate and student ambassador for international students at Brown. And again, really glad to have her on the call. And next we have Matt Wallace. He's been at Brown for about 3 years. He's held several enrollment positions prior to joining the team. He helps with all of Brown graduate admissions. So he knows that application process inside and out, both for domestic and international students. So it's really great to have his knowledge and expertise here with us today. And last but certainly not least, we have Kim Pulowski. She has 13 years of higher ed experience, most of that working with adult online students, including international students. She also knows Brown's admissions process, all the different requirements that are involved, and how to help you meet those requirements. So really great to have her here. And again, the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, if you have any questions as we're going along, feel free to go ahead and put them in there now. And you can address them to anyone, our international students or the Brown faculty. So without further ado, let's start with this big red screen. Let's start with the international experience for online MPH students. We want to, before we open it up and start hitting them with questions, left, right, and center. I'm just kidding. This is going to be a very wonderful, casual experience. But I wanted to start with a few warm-up questions to get things started. Again, I don't think, let me check here. I don't think Siam has joined us yet. No, it doesn't look like he has. He will here shortly. Again, these international students, they took time out of their day. Siam's in India, Keisha's in South Africa. So they're full-time students, full-time professionals working their lives. So really appreciate that they're here. So Siam will be joining us a little bit later. But to kick things off, let's start with, I guess, the main question. Why did you choose Brown's online MPH? As you can see here on the screen, we've got the international students. We also have the faculty. There's a lot of faces on the screen. That's kind of intentional. I really want everyone who's on the call to see who all is going to be part of their experience when they come to Brown, and going to support them and make sure that they succeed. And so I'm just kind of curious. What I'd like to do is have the international students first answer the question, and then if anyone on the faculty side has additional information, these folks on the faculty side, they work very closely with international students all the time. They hear about their stories, their concerns. So I thought it would be helpful to get their perspective on the question as well. So first I'll open it up to international students, and then anyone on the faculty side, if you have some additional information or an experience you'd like to share, feel free to share that as well. So Akeisha, as you are our sole international student as of right now, I will go ahead and kind of toss this question to you. When you were doing your research and searching out a master's of public health, what made you land on Brown universities?
Hi, everyone. So I've been wanting to do an MPH for some time, and I always just assumed I would do it most likely in my country because I'm still working here full time, and I thought I'd be working full time and doing doing an MPH part time. And then just while I was doing research online, I just came across Brown's program, and I dug a little bit more into it, and I didn't realize there were MPHs that were even online internationally. So it was kind of almost just kind of happened that I saw it and I thought this would be great. So I looked more into it and I applied, and next thing I knew, I was there. So that's pretty much the reason why I went for it. I think going international with the degree, especially a public health degree, is also something that I was interested in because it's especially a public health degree. I think you can learn so much from international health systems, and just getting an international approach to public health, I think, is so worthwhile, which is why I was quite excited when I saw this program, because I thought that would be fantastic. And if I did it in South Africa, I would just be focused on South African healthcare, which is also important. But I think getting a global perspective is also incredibly vital for a degree such as this. So that's why I went for it.
Oh, wow, that's really, I appreciate that response. It's always interesting to see what motivates someone to take on a big commitment. Not only is it a master's program, but it's an online, and I mean you're doing it as an international student. It's a big commitment, so it's really interesting to see what kind of motivates people. Is anyone on the Brown side, the faculty side, have you heard from international students? Like what really drove them to kind of choose Brown? Obviously there's other prestigious Masters of Public Health that are offered online, but Brown's is the one that kind of came to the top. Any stories there from the faculty?
I can talk about, I think, well, let me first bring up why we developed an online MPH at Brown. And so we really wanted to know, and we really wanted to explore building a program where we take away the barriers for students to come to Brown, to get an education without necessarily have to move to Providence, being able to still work full-time. Most of our students are working professionals, and we wanted to be able to expand our education to be able to provide students with an opportunity to get a Brown University public health education without having to change their lives and having to move. And so we knew that how critical and important it was to build relationships and build connections with people from around the world. It's super important for all of us, particularly right now, even more than ever, is that we build these kind of the knowledges and learn from each other in public health and build relationships and networks to learn from each other globally. And so that was a really big impetus for building this program. In terms of why international students join, I do think that we do have a great support system and really organized. We're really organized in the sense of making sure that international students feel supported. And I definitely want to turn to Irene, who has been an international student of ours since her master's degree and now is getting her PhD. So I'm wondering if Irene wanted to share.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Hi, everyone. And yes, to your question, Derek, you pronounced my surname correctly, so you're good. Yeah, I just wanted to add that I'm also the current executive chair of the Graduate Student Council at the School of Public Health, and we do have representatives from the online cohort. So, because we wanted to make sure that their voices are heard, their concerns are heard, and we are able to bridge that with administration. And I'm also currently the graduate school community fellow for international students across campus. So I work closely with Andrew and June with the Global Brown Center to provide support and make sure that international student experience at Brown is great. Yeah, to Jen's point about the online program, I've worked closely with some folks in the online cohort, and one of the reasons that they say that drew them to Brown was really that opportunity to learn. The ethos of the School of Public Health is learning public health by doing public health, and it's great that they're able to learn and do public health in their own communities, and they don't have to come here to the US. Like sometimes in my experience, it's harder to be here physically here and be connected with my community, right? Because I have to do it online or go there at certain times of the year. But with this program, you can stay in your own community, be connected with Brown, and bring the resources and the knowledge and the experience from Brown there in your community and have ongoing impact there. And I think that's really great. What's great about this program.
Yeah, that's interesting. I appreciate you, everyone sharing. And I see, Siam, we have you on the call. Welcome.
Sorry, I'm late. I just had
No,
to finish
not
my
a
meeting.
problem. I was kind of explaining to everyone that you would be a little, you join us a little bit later because, you have, you're a full-time professional, you're joining us, it's a huge favor to us that you're joining us. Really appreciate that. So since you're on the call, Keisha's already kind of shared her insight, but curious what you think. Why did of all the options that you kind of were looking at, and when you were really kind of pursuing the Masters of Public Health, why did you land on Brown's program?
No, so absolutely, a few things that mattered to me. One, clearly, I was looking for an online program because of various personal reasons. I was also looking for a program that I could learn about public health, all 360 degrees of it. That was very, very important to me. And I was looking for a smaller program where we could get some of the attention and learning that that we all aim for mid-career, if you will. And Brown definitely met all those. Of course, being an Ivy League obviously matters. But that was what I was looking for. What I found is a lot more, Derek. I think the level of camaraderie within the cohort, the level of support that we are getting from the faculty and everybody else at Brown, the sense of community, which let's say I was hoping for when I was trying to narrow down on schools, is very, very strong here. And it's probably, once I'm done here and 10 years later, when I look back, the first thing I remember about Brown may not be what I learned in each class. It's the network that we built, the friendships, the support, the sense of belonging, if you will. That is really what stood out for me as I'm going through this journey.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. So I think what we're understanding here, it's more than just the academics that was looked at in the program. I think there's a whole facet, all these different facets of things that need to be explored, and it kind of looks like Brown kind of checked all the boxes for those questions and concerns that people had. So that's really interesting to hear about that. Let's kind of jump into the next question. Studying abroad has its own challenge. Well, online learning alone, there's just a difference there. There's, clearly you're not in person. There's some differences, but then studying abroad has might even add a different layer to that. So I'm really curious about this specifically for international students. What were some of the challenges that you experienced just being an international student and studying abroad? And how did you overcome those challenges? Like, was it something that you kind of figured out yourself, or were you able to rely on resources at Brown, or was it friends and family? I'm just really curious about what the experiences were there. So Keisha, I'll begin with you again.
So I think the most obvious difference or difficulty is the time difference. That's been, I think, the biggest struggle. We obviously the program is designed to be fully online, to be able to do in your own sort of time. But there are twice a week synchronous sessions that you can join, where the whole class joins, and you have access to your professor. You can ask the questions you need to ask. And initially, I tried to join those sessions, but they were around 1 a.m. for me on the side. So I think I joined 2 or 3 of them, and then I couldn't keep up. So what is nice is they are posted later on, which is great. But I think that has been the biggest challenge, because just having that access to the professors is not as easy as perhaps the students who are studying in the US. So I think that has been the biggest challenge. But to be honest, the professors are completely understanding, and they have office hours and they have other times you can email them, and there's discussion boards online on Canvas as well that you can post questions that you have. So I've never really felt that I don't have access to the professors. So that is something that could potentially be a challenge, but I feel like so far in the course, the professors we have come across have been very accommodating for that. So I think, that's probably been one of the biggest challenges. And then another one would just be just studying online in general. It's the first time I'm actually doing a fully online course, and it does have its own challenges. You have to be quite disciplined. So working full-time and studying full-time is the first time I'm doing it, and it's quite tough. So it's taken a while to get used to get into kind of a rhythm of things. I think I'm finally there, but that's something that I think you should just expect if you are working full-time and studying full-time. It's not going to be a walk in the park, especially in the beginning. So just give yourself some grace with, getting used to things. And that's another challenge that I think is quite difficult. But I think once you've found a rhythm that works for you, then things start becoming a little easier. And what's really, I was just mentioned now, but what's really been great is our group that we're working with, and the other classmates have been fantastic. So, we have multiple ways of communicating. We've got a Slack channel, we've got WhatsApp, there's this discussion board. So we chat on all these forms of media, and they've been a great support in any way. And if you have a question that you want a quick answer for, maybe someone has an answer for you, and just being there for each other has been really great. So I think we've been very, very lucky with our group. We've had a fantastic group. So yeah.
Oh, really? I appreciate you sharing that. That's really interesting. Sam, I'm wondering, how would you answer this question?
So what's 1 a.m. for Keisha tends to be 3:30 or 4:30 for me in India. So that's a challenge. Luckily, I'm an early riser, and I'm normally up by 4, so I just had to adjust a little bit. There are probably some events, etc., that we miss out just because of time differences. But I think it's really important what Keisha was referring to. The professors, the teaching assistants have all been very accommodating, very helpful. I would also say that we have a fantastic cohort, and Jen and others who are part of this process. You did great, right? It's the level of camaraderie. You don't really feel left out at any point. There's of course a discussion, there's Slack, there is WhatsApp, there's almost taken digital collaboration to the next level in some sense. And it is a continuous thing. I wish McKenna was on this call. She's in France, and David is in Israel, and it's constant. It's constant, and if you are struggling with anything, you just have to ask, and you'll have 7 or 8 people trying to help you. I would say, Derek, that's what's kept me going. To Keisha's point, coming back to school after a long time, in my case, after 29 years, 27 years, and doing it while doing a full-time job, it was very tough in the first few weeks. We are all settling in now. It's a little tough in the last couple of weeks because we're coming to the end of the semester, but that's probably true for any student. Nothing new there. And I'm really looking forward to the next semester.
I appreciate that. I appreciate both of you. Your answers are very real, which is what we wanted. Clearly, taking on something like a master's program, online, international, there's going to be some challenges associated to it. And kind of what both of you have said is you've embraced those challenges. They are a struggle, as challenges can be. However, you've figured out a way to overcome them and rise above them. It sounds like Brown is really helping you do that. So I think it's comforting to kind of hear that, yes, it's a struggle, but it's a worthwhile struggle. So that's really great to hear it. As you can see, even on the screen here, there's a lot of support, a lot of people in different roles at Brown that can help you overcome whatever it is that you're experiencing. So just to keep things kind of moving, I'm going to jump to the next question here. One of the areas, though, a question that has come up has to do with the Global Brown Center and what exactly, all the different resources that's offered at that center. And so that is something I want to address kind of a little bit later in the webinar. But before we jump in there, let's see, our final question before we open it up is advice. Just any kind of advice that you would have to folks on this call, to other students, international students that are attending the webinar today, or this is obviously being recorded. We're going to use it for different purposes, after right now, and so it would just be great to kind of hear from the international students. You're living it right now. So I guess what's something that you wish you would have known then that you know now, or what's something that maybe you were hesitating, like really concerned about or hesitating about, that you realize now wasn't that big of a deal, or you were able to easily overcome it? Just kind of curious what kind of advice you would offer to students considering the program. And Keisha, I'll begin with you again.
So I think some advice just going into the program would be that it's going to be difficult in the beginning, and I think it's okay to feel overwhelmed initially. I think I felt a little bit overwhelmed, I think it was in the first few weeks. And what you start to realize is that everybody's feeling that way, and being able to reach out to your classmates and kind of have that discussion helped quite a lot to realize you're not going through this alone. Because I think that's one of the other challenges with studying online is you don't have easy access to your classmates where you're in class together all the time, you get to chat, and I think you can start to feel a little bit isolated. So I think one piece of advice would be to reach out and say something to your classmates. Say you're feeling overwhelmed, and you'll realize you're not the only one, and you can help each other through that. One of the things that some of our classmates have set up on the Slack channels, for example, there's some meditation sessions, some yoga sessions, some exercise sessions. We share music, things like that, and you kind of find the group that that has the same kind of outlet as you that you might need. And I think that's some advice, is just to make friends, to reach out to your classmates, and you'll realize that, you know, everyone's going to struggle and they can help you through it. And I think in the same breath is also not to be afraid to reach out to your faculty as well, because they've been fantastic in every single way. I mean, it's the first time they're running this online program, and obviously there will be some hiccups along the way. And every time there's been, you know, some kind of issue that we've had that's been addressed or it's been resolved almost instantaneously. So, you know, we've reached out to faculty about feeling a little bit overwhelmed as a cohort, and assignments were adjusted, due dates were adjusted, things were changed very quickly in real time. And so don't be afraid to reach out and say what's working and what's not working for you. So I think that's some of the advice I would give. Yeah.
That's great. I appreciate that. Siam, what would you say?
I think to echo some of what Keisha was saying, if you feel overwhelmed in the first couple of weeks, don't panic. There's so many discussion threads and tools around. Please participate, because the more your cohort knows you, the more you'll get help, to be very simple about it. To Keisha's point, you know, the faculty, Jen, Nitya, Brenda, everybody is there to help. But remember, you have to ask, right? We don't know what you don't tell us, type of thing. As a cohort, one of our very initial commitments in the first few weeks, we are going to document and create a loose compendium of things that would help the next cohort. And we are very, very committed to that. And we've been gathering a whole bunch of stuff, which we will publish. We will find the right way to publish it. But and we are here too, so don't hesitate to reach out to us. And that is the way I look at it. That's part of the identity of Brown, and we are happy to be part of that identity.
Yeah, could I also just share really quick too, is that we definitely are invested in making sure we have faculty that have a global health experience, global health background. For instance, Dr. Michael Harvey, who's teaching public health policy, his research is focused in Latin America. Dr. Monica Doshi, she has been a public health consultant for 20 years prior to coming into academia, and she's worked in China, India, and Kenya, as well as another professor that's working with us is Dr. Karen Andes, and her research is in Mexico and Tunisia. So again, we're very dedicated to ensuring that faculty talk and teach and are experts in global health as well.
That's great. And this has all been really, I think, very helpful advice. Again, you can really tell that there's a camaraderie and there's a kind of we're in this together type feeling of the program, which is excellent, both with students and with faculty and their experiences, as Dr. Nazarino was explaining. Okay, so we are going to open it to questions. Before we do that, though, we want to quickly talk about the program itself, the admissions requirements, kind of get that cleared up. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and answer them, or get them, write them down now at the bottom there in the Q&A panel. You don't have to wait till the live Q&A. You can go ahead and ask them there. But I wanted to briefly go through the program and talk a little bit about what makes it unique and different, and I'll have Dr. Nazarino kind of go through this.
Sure. So quickly, because I definitely want to hear still more from our other from the students and everyone else on the panel. But first and foremost, we are 100% online. Asynchronous courses provide you with that kind of flexibility. That's very intentional because we wanted to attract international students that weren't required to do residencies over at our university, but could stay where they are and work from where they are and still attain an MPH degree. Another important part of our program is that we provide case-based learning. We believe in integrating cases into our courses. One of our professors is a law professor who also has her MPH and teaches leadership and actually has written her own cases and we will be using cases throughout the curriculum to really look at it from a leadership standpoint, from social determinants of health standpoint, public policy and public health viewpoint. So case-based learning is something where we really feel that's a really great way for students to learn about public health challenges. We do definitely have optional synchronous weekly session meetings with faculty. We really try to be as available to be very available to our students. Synchronous sessions are optional. We do want you to attend, and we understand though that timing can be quite difficult. And so thank you for mentioning that. That's good feedback for me to think about. Maybe we need to think about adjusting some of the times when the synchronous sessions occur. In terms of curriculum, yes, we definitely focused on preparing those for leadership. We have 2 courses just focused on leadership that's very critical into a part of our program. Leadership, data analysis, as well as communications are the 3 pillars of what we really want to focus on in our program. Small class sizes and competitive price point. I mean, I'm sure those are on the call. You've seen what other universities, the tuition for our peers, and we do think we have a competitive price point. We also provide merit-based scholarships, and that definitely helps our students as well. In terms of small class sizes, we don't, our program is not one that has 500 students or what have you. Right now, our cohort is about 660 students that meet together. They're split into sub cohorts, but for the most part, I think they've built a really good bond and have really developed a great networking amongst each other. Again, I do think we are competitively priced, and we also provide merit-based scholarships, 33%, 50%, and 100% scholarships.
Right, thank you. And then again, any questions about this, ask your question in the Q&A. And quickly, let's kind of go over admissions requirements. And I guess Matt and Kim, this is kind of your world, so either of you can jump in here and discuss this.
Okay, Matt, you want to take the lead on this?
Sure. So what do you need to apply, right? So you'll need your bachelor's degree, at least 2 years of professional experience prior to the start of classes. Of course, your resume or CV, 3 letters of recommendation, and personal statement. Personal statement is really going to be the way that you differentiate yourself from the rest of the applicants. This is a way where you can tell your story a little bit, why you're passionate about public health, what you've done before Brown, what you want to do at Brown, and what you want to do afterwards, what you're doing right now, the impact that you're making in public health now. And you know, you're unique, right? The faculty admissions committees really review your application holistically and look for fit. So it's so much less like, hey, are you good enough for Brown? And it's much more of like, hey, are we good enough for you? Like, do we have the resources? Do we have the connections? Do we have what you need to fulfill your goals and achieve your dreams? So that's really the way the faculty admissions committee looks at these applications. All the applications are done through SOFAs, and as Derek mentioned, the early decision deadline is coming up right around the corner, December 15th, and then we have a priority deadline on May 1st, and then the final deadline for fall is June 1st. And we have a bunch of people that are here to help you get through that process and answer all of your questions, because as education is, it's far more complicated than it needs to be. So we're here to help you along that process. Obviously, and then international applicants also, if you came from a country that's native language is not English, or if you haven't completed a post-secondary degree from an accredited institution that was taught 100% in English, then you will have to provide English proficiency in the form of like a TOEFL or IELTS. And then if you attended a post-secondary institution that was international, then a WES transcript evaluation is required. Now, that being said, this year, we're also allowing SpanTran and ECE, which is nice because WES is a little bit pricey and can sometimes be slower. So that you have some options there with your official transcripts. Kim, did I miss anything? Do you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, I don't think you missed anything. I think the one thing I would like to stress is there are a few of us on the team, enrollment coaches, and everybody's situation is a little unique. So what we're here to do is really help support you in your own situation. So I appreciate that Matt had brought up, you know, the possible need for TOEFL or the IELTS or the evaluations, but talk to us first. And we can do that via email, super easy, totally free. But that's what we're here for, is to help kind of tailor this to your individual situation. And having said that, I think the most important first step you can take is to get that international transcript evaluation started. That's the thing that will typically take the most time, that you don't have as much control over. And then the last thing I will just mention is just serious respect to Keisha and Siam for, one, being here with us today and modifying your schedule. But oh my gosh, what great examples you guys are for your commitment and your dedication, not only to school, but obviously to your own communities. So, and I got to be your enrollment coaches for both of you. So I'm super, super stoked. Thank you guys.
Excellent. Appreciate all of that. And I think, okay, we are now ta-da, at the live Q&A, but I think I want to do something a little bit different here. We have a lot of, so there's one question that we have right now in the Q&A, and I don't know if someone, Cam or Matt or someone could go in and actually answer that question. A lot of questions we've gotten outside of this webinar and just in discussions have had to do with support and just the support structures and what that looks like at Brown, specifically for international students. And so I kind of wanted to jump back and let me see if I can, you're going to see this on your screen a little bit, but I want to jump back to that question that we had earlier, overcoming challenges. Oh, just bumped right back to the beginning. So sorry if you get a little whiplash here. But this is where I think is a great opportunity to talk about the different support systems at Brown, specifically the Global Brown Center. We haven't really hit on that, but I think that is such a unique organization. It's such a unique offering that Brown has, and we have Andrew and June on the call here. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to speak of that, what exactly that organization does for international students, how it helps them, and if we could go into a little bit more detail there. And Andrew and June, I'll let you decide amongst yourself who wants to take the lead there.
Thank you so much. Andrew, maybe I'll jump off on the Global Brown umbrella. So Global Brown is quite a large entity at Brown. It's kind of an umbrella of several offices and teams across the university. So you have within us the Office of Global Engagement, which works with our outgoing partnerships and relationships and our incoming exchange students and scholars that come in from all around the world. Also, Brown has schools in other countries. And so it's kind of a rich portfolio of inbound and outbound research and study. So in addition to that, we also have our Office of International Students and Scholar Services, which is our immigration office, which really helps with all your visa and compliance support. In addition to that, we have the English language learning at the Sheridan Center. And what's wonderful about the Sheridan Center is everything is there. It's kind of like this wonderful array of support. You have English language workshops. They have a 4-part self-guided series on academic writing, individual support and tutoring. There's also, if you want like of a social connection, they have conversation partners where you pair with a staff member and you can have kind of a personal connection, and you can guide those conversations conversationally. You can, if you want to make the topic a little bit more catered to what you're studying, that's an option. So it's not just social, but they also offer a wide array of assessment tools, whether it's consultation on your methodologies. There's an academic program self-study on learning goals. And then consultations, whether it's teaching and course consultations. I can go on and on and on. And then as far as my role, I serve, and in addition to, as a great big partner to Global Brown, is the Global Brown Center for International Students, which Andrew Heald will jump in and tell you about that, because that's quite a dynamic group and something that I think is kind of the heart and soul of our international student and scholar experience. But as far as when you think about resources and support, my role is really to assist students and scholars so they don't have to kind of make sense of this wide map of what's available at Brown. I'm a first point of contact. One of the nice things about what I think is kind of inspirational about our international student and scholar community is Global Brown decentralizes and strives to deprioritize Brown as a geographical location and recenter our international students and scholars, both related to their identity, where they are in the world, their needs, their time zones, all of that. So we're kind of a fluid organization that's learning or wanting to find better ways and strategies for being more available in ways that aren't connected to place and time. So I'll hand it over to Andrew because he has the fun work.
Thank you so much, June. So hello, everyone. Yes, my name is Andrew Heald. I am the program director for the Global Brown Center for International Students. And June, I want to kind of talk about our work really centered on a topic that you just brought up, the idea of space and time. So the Global Brown Center for International Students really strives to create a home away from home for our international students and scholar populations here at Brown. And for those who are studying online in your own homes or in other spaces that you might call home, and those who might, I think we've learned from the last couple of years that the concept of home can be really complicated, and existing in multiple spaces can be really complicated, and that we can create home in digital spaces. And so that's kind of what we strive to do. Again, the center really strives to create that home away from home. How do we do that? We do that through programming. We do that through student advocacy, and we do that through student leadership. So all of our programs are really run by our student communities. Irene, I'm so glad that you're on the call. Hi. I've worked with Irene, to do several programs for graduate students. And because this is about the online MPH program, I would love to continue to explore ways that we can provide virtual experiences for those who are studying in multiple places around the world, being cognizant of things like time zones, being cognizant of things like, juggling multiple responsibilities, given that you're not physically in the same space. So it's a little bit about us and a little bit about what we do. Again, Global Brown Center for International Students, striving to create that home away from home in many contexts and many meanings for our international student population. And I think I'll leave it at that, so we have a little bit of time for Q&A as well.
Yeah, thank you. I think I thought it was really interesting and worthwhile to share. I know a lot of attendees or people in general, they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what to ask. And so that's why I really like to take this time when we have this fantastic group of people together to ask those questions and get those answers. And so we can share those experiences, share that knowledge, and help people feel more confident about their decision to pursue the online Masters of Public Health at Brown. I'm kind of curious if there's any other thoughts related to supporting international students and just the experiences that they go through, a common experience that they may have that we can help them through. I don't know if Kim, Matt, or Irene, if there's anything. You obviously work with international students, you've heard their stories. If there's something that's specific to an international student and their experience of attending a university in another country, or attending this program specifically and earning their degree, if there's something that you've kind of helped them through and walked them through and helped them overcome.
I think for me, probably the thing that stands out the most is the funding aspect. And so Jen actually touched on it and mentioned it when she was talking earlier about the merit-based scholarships. But let me just kind of hone in on that just a little bit more, because the merit-based scholarships, basically what happens when the committee reviews somebody's application packet for consideration into the program, they're also looking at it as a possible, or to give them a possible merit-based scholarship. And so just to highlight, it's not need-based, it's merit-based. And so what they're doing is they're looking at the full content and impact of your application packet. So you really want to make sure you have some great meat in there and show your passion. Having said that, as Jen had mentioned, the scholarships will range from 33% to 50% to 100% in some cases. But you find out if you've been awarded a scholarship at the same time that you find out about your admissions decision. So it'll all come in the same information packet. That is one significant aspect of funding. The other is, and I'm going to put it here in the chat, but there is another link that I'm going to send that helps international students be able to cover some costs. So it's basically scholarship opportunities. So I'm going to put that in the chat box as well. But those are a couple things I typically do hear about. How about you, Matt or Irene?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I just wanted to say, that I was inspired by the students that were talking. That was one of those things that I was nervous about with the online program, because Brown obviously has fantastic faculty that are at the top of their fields, a great network, an amazing, it's a very prestigious university, but like, how would that inclusion piece work in an online space? And that's what I heard from our students today, that the camaraderie, the connection, the friendships. And I just think that's a big testament to our students for being amazing, and B, our leadership, Jen's leadership, and then just the culture at Brown. Like, we really thrive to create, and advancing and promoting a culture of inclusion, and in order for people to really thrive, not only academically, but like personally and emotionally as well, you have to be your full authentic self. And I think that we really do a great job of allowing people to be themselves, because we understand that diversity, especially international diversity, is so key in all aspects of life, and to solve problems in public health, and to really enrich our lives. So I think that's probably the aspect that I'm most proud of for being part of this institution.
Yeah, for me, I guess I just wanted to highlight that there are a lot of other services available at Brown that are also available for international students who are in the online program. So just like what you've mentioned, the Global Brown Center, the services there are available for online students. We also have like student accessibility office. We have CAPS, we have all these other like offices that provide support for students at Brown who are at Brown, but also are able to provide these kinds of services and support for online students. And so I think it's important for students to explore that as well. And it's just great to hear that students are supporting each other in the online cohort. We at the global at the graduate student council at the School of Public Health are trying our best to connect with students as well. So currently we have 2 students who are from the online program who are part of the council, and we're trying to develop some programs right now to provide more support for our international students. So looking forward to partnering with everyone in this chat room right now in doing that.
And then June, did you have something to add?
Yes, Irene and Matt, I loved what you said about the whole student experience. I think speaking from the Global Brown perspective, health and wellness and the holistic care is central in our mission. And so speaking to what Irene said, we have dedicated deans in the master's area of the university that are dedicated to health and wellness, crisis support, anything that impacts your ability to focus on your academics. And it's a very private space. We also have our counseling and psychological services for people that want to access that support, as well as health services, and everything is available virtually. The other thing is for those that may not feel a need to go to say counseling and psychological services, we have another, and it's kind of in conjunction with all these deans that are there to support you, but it's actually because it's just such a priority. And when it comes to leading a full-time life of work and school and family, it's very hard wherever you are to manage all that comes up. So there is a very dedicated team across, like what we have student support services that help with all types of things, whether it's troubleshooting, bringing in resources across the university, talking with faculty. So you're not alone. And I think that's something that when you think about what overcoming challenges, so often students will say, I am so happy I don't feel alone here. And I think that we all struggle with that, I think that's a process for all of us. But when you hear that on this end as an administrator, you feel like, oh my gosh, this is why we're here. So I can go on about it, but I'd have to say that this is something that we're very dedicated to supporting.
That's great. And thank you for sharing that. I do want to be cognizant of time. Siam had to drop, like I said, busy professional. Keisha as well is a busy professional. Keisha, though, I wonder if just one final parting comment before we leave and say goodbye. I'm really curious, what are your plans after your MPH? What are you hoping earning this Master's of Public Health will help you do or move you into the next portion of your life? Just really curious to hear what next steps are for you once you complete the degree.
So there's a couple of routes I could go. So I can't say I have my eyes set on just one way, but currently where I'm working, I work for an NGO, and we do a lot of clinical trials, especially in HIV and TB and infectious disease research, and that's kind of where my passion has always lied. So we have quite I guess I want to say an amazing public health leader here who runs the organization, female leader as well, and she's kind of someone I've looked up to for a long time. She's advocated a lot for example, during our COVID waves, she got our COVID vaccines. She acquired the COVID vaccines for our healthcare workers here in the country, and you know, it's that kind of thing that I looked at and I was like, well, you know, how do I get to where she is, kind of a thing. And I think that's where the MPH came in. I think I you know, my background is as a doctor, and I've worked in a lot of busy, very under-resourced settings here in South Africa, and you know, you can make a difference on a one-to-one kind of basis, but I think where I really want to make a difference is more at a community level, at a population level. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve with the MPH. Hoping to achieve that kind of scale. So we'll see how things go, and where this takes me. And yeah, but I know it's going to be beneficial in the end, and I know it will take me to where I want to be. I just have to figure that out for myself a little bit as well.
That's wonderful. Really appreciate you sharing. I just find that fascinating, and we're rooting for you. We wish you the best of luck, and thank you again for joining us here today. Before I say our final goodbyes, and sorry, scrolling kind of fast through here, I wanted to, everyone on the call, just take a last look at these dates, these important dates. Again, December 15th is the early admissions decision deadline. And then you have the priority and final, that's deadlines that are coming up next year. But we've discussed a lot today. Hopefully you feel a little bit more comfortable with the next step you have to make. Kim, Matt, they're anxious to talk to you. So give them a call, reach out through email. They can help you through the process. We really appreciate your time today, and we hope to see you online in the classes. So thank you, and have a great rest of your day. And thank you to everyone who the students and faculty who joined us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.